So our job here is to solve the equation, that is, find the values of the variable that are going to make this equation true. When it comes to solving equations, it really boils down to three things. We're going to simplify each side as much as we can. Once we get to that point, we'll get all our variable terms on one side, everything else over to the other, and then hopefully we'll be able to get the variable all by itself. Because while right now it's hard to see what value of x will make this equation true, if we can get it down to a point where it's x equal to some number, it's really easy to see what value of the variable will make that true. So let's go ahead and solve this one. Let's simplify each side. So I notice on the left hand side here, looks like we can distribute. So after we distribute, that's 3 times x to give me 3x, 3 times that negative 5 to give me a negative 15, and that's all I'm going to do in this first step. Notice there's really nothing to do on that right hand side. It's already as simple as we can get. Looks like on the left hand side here I now have two like terms I combined. So 3x and negative 5x, that gives me a negative 2x. Now each side is as simple as we can get it. We can't combine any other terms on either side. So now that each side is as simple as we can get it, we will get all our variable terms on one side, everything else over to the other side. In this case, I'm going to decide let's get our variable terms on the left hand side, which means I want to get rid of the variable on the right hand side. So since I have a 2x over there, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Remember, anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. In the meantime, I want to try to get everything else over to the other side. So let's get rid of this negative 15. The way we're going to do that is we're going to add 15 to both sides. So on my left hand side, you'll see my 15 and my negative 15 cancel. On my right hand side, my 2x and my negative 2x cancel. And all I have left to do is simplify each of these sides. So on my left hand side, I have negative 2x and another negative 2x. That's a negative 4x. On my right hand side, I have 9 plus 15. That's a 24. So now I've gotten to a point where I simplified each side. I got all my variable terms on one side, everything else over to the other, and I said hopefully now we can get the variable all by itself. Since it's negative 4 times x, to get x all by itself, I'm going to divide by a negative 4. And again, anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So on my left-hand side here, I'm left with an x. On my right-hand side, I have a 24 divided by negative 4. That's a negative 6. So it looks like negative 6 is the solution to this equation. That is the value of the variable that makes it true. We're just going to take a moment and make sure of that. So we will come in here and let's check to make sure that negative 6 actually is a solution. I'm going to do the left hand side, and my left hand side looks like this. Notice I'm going to plug negative 6 in here and see what I get. So we have to make sure we're comfortable evaluating these things. I'll do everything in my parentheses first. Now I'll take care of my multiplication. That's a negative 33 when I do 3 times a negative 11. And here I'm subtracting 5 times a negative 6. So I'm subtracting a negative 30. That's the same thing as adding a positive 30. So when I go to check here, my left when x is a negative 6, my left-hand side is negative 3. Hopefully my right-hand side also gives me a negative 3 when x is a negative 6. So notice here that's a negative 12 plus 9. Hey, look at that. That's a negative 3. My two sides match when x is a negative 6. So this really is my solution. And we've solved that equation.